This is Meet the Ocean Encounters.
Ocean Encounters.
Meet the ocean.
My name is Ashley Michael Karitis, and I am a videographer and editor for a maritime expedition company, Lindblad Expeditions. And I was traveling in Antarctica in the fall of 2019 when I received a wake-up call at 2:30 in the morning for the sighting of our first emperor penguin. So I got all of my gear on. I went up that morning. It was perfect glassy waters, beautiful sunrise in the austral summer of Antarctica. And there was a juvenile emperor penguin laying on ice. Now, normally, when we're exploring with passenger vessels in Antarctica in this region, seeing an emperor penguin is a true blessing. It's something we see at a great distance, probably every other 10-day itinerary. So to see one was a really big deal. To see it from the ship was a really big deal. And for me as a videographer trying to capture the entire experience, I felt like that theme had been touched on. That almost to say as if that box had been checked for the wildlife sightings I was hoping to get over the course of the itinerary. So we traveled through the Weddell Sea all that morning in and around Snow Hill Island, which is home to the northernmost colony of emperor penguins. Now, emperor penguins are really special because they typically breed and care for their chicks on the inner part of the Antarctic continent. So we don't see them very typically on the fringes. And after seeing this first juvenile emperor penguin, we continued to travel and navigate along many sections of fast ice adjacent to Snow Hill Island. And as we were traveling, it was kind of a joke on the expedition leader who had given us the original wake-up call at 3 o'clock in the morning, because every 20 minutes or so, we would see another emperor penguin, or a pair of emperor penguins, and not just juveniles, but adults. Sometimes they were just standing on the ice, they were preening their feathers, and other times they were tobogganing across the fast ice. And we presumed they were all heading in the direction of that northernmost colony there on Snow Hill Island. So one of our typical activities is that we park our ship into the ice. We just ram it right in there, and we allow our guests to disembark and walk around. Early in the season when there's fresher snow on the fast ice, we have snowshoeing and skiing activities. And so as we were enjoying ourselves, and as I was running about capturing all of these activities and conducting some interviews with some of our experts on board, every 20 minutes or so, another emperor penguin would walk by, cruise by, waddle by, toboggan by, and they were becoming such a frequent sighting that as they walked by, some of us would no longer take notice. And so we had lunch on board. And so as the afternoon began to close, I had gotten wind of how there were groups of emperors coming up out of the water onto the ice about a mile away from where our group was exploring and walking. And because we had cross-country skis available to us at the time, I said to my friend and colleague, who's a penguin biologist, I'm just gonna go ski over to the emperors. And she and I had been impressed by the emperors all morning. And I said to her, okay, I'm just gonna grab my camera and click on some skis, and I'm gonna ski over to the emperors. And I'll be right back after I get a few shots. And she looked at me, chuckled, and with a smile said, when do you ever think you're going to be able to say that again? And I realized what I had just said, that I'm going to go ski out to see some emperor penguins. And I said to her, I'll probably never be able to say that again in my life. But I did do just that. I packed my camera up. I didn't bother taking a tripod. It took me about 7 or 8 minutes to ski out to a place where I was told there were emperor penguins coming up out of the water. So I saw one, and I skied alongside of it about 50 yards away. I unclicked my skis and walked about halfway to it and got some shots, got closer, got some shots. I eventually dropped to my knees and waddled toward it. By the time I was on my knees, I was actually about the height of the penguin. They're about over a meter tall and almost 100 kilograms. So they're a really large, chubby penguin bird, and just so elegant and beautiful. And As I waddled over to it, I was able to get closer and closer to it while still giving its minimum distance to respect it and to not disturb the bird. And for a moment there, I just laid on my belly next to this penguin who eventually laid down with me. And he seemed to be taking a nap. His eyes were closing. He was opening them up gently, kind of nodding off in his sleep. The only thing that ended up disturbing this bird was that we heard a distant emperor penguin call that was over to my left shoulder. And the minute that call came out, the penguin, he became all alert, and he stood up and he looked in the direction of the call. And that was really the only thing that caught his attention that day. Once I had my shots, there was nothing else I really could do but just back away. And that's exactly what I did. I waddled backward, I crawled backward, got back on my skis, skied another 100 yards ahead where there was a second penguin hanging out by himself. And I did the same thing. I unclicked my skis, I walked, got some shots, waddled, got some shots, got on my belly, got some more footage. And as this bird was standing there preening, taking no notice of my presence at all, suddenly 11 or 12 additional emperor penguins came right out of the water, and they all stood next to this one penguin. So I had something like 12 or 13 penguins just in front of me, slick, wet from the ocean, preening themselves. They all seemed to be kind of chattering amongst each other, making little emperor penguin noises and nuzzles. And then just one by one, all of them very calmly, gently dropped to their bellies and began tobogganing in front of me. And in a nice, uniform, calm line, they all tobogganed slowly away from me. And you could hear their little calls to each other as they became smaller and smaller in the distance. Right as they were tobogganing away from me, my expedition leader gave a call on the radio, Ashley, it's time to go back. Ashley, it's time to come back to the ship now. We need to leave. And I think that the bridge team had been watching me with binoculars the whole time. And they chimed in and said, yes, we see Ashley, and she's got a great shot. It's time to come back now. So I was completely ecstatic, elated. I would never thought in my life, without a massive film crew, would I ever get so close to an emperor penguin, not just one, but multiple. And the birds were calm. And I think my most proud moment as a wildlife cinematographer is that there was really no setup for this all to take place. And I was able to cruise out there by myself and not disturb these animals. They were at ease with me, and all of their behavior was unfolding as though there were no humans around. And as the emperors tobogganed away, I retreated to my skis. I had a pretty big smile on my face. I clicked into my skis and pushed back to the ship. This is something I'm never going to forget. Laying on fast ice in the Weddell Sea in Antarctica, next to the largest penguin in the world, calm and undisturbed. A true highlight for me as a wildlife filmmaker, and something I may never be able to do again.
Meet the Ocean is produced by Paul North and Andrew Gettings, with sound design by Kelsey Anderson. Special thanks to wildlife cinematographer Ashley Michael Karitis for sharing her experience on the sea ice with the legendary emperor penguins. We are a listener-supported nonprofit. You can find more podcasts, underwater creatures, and ways to donate to our educational outreach on our website, meettheocean.org. Subscribe to our podcast to never miss an episode, and please rate and review Meet the Ocean on Apple Podcasts or on whatever platform you choose to listen. Until next time, may the saltwater be with you.